So, hello, welcome everyone. I hope you're feeling good and not too sleepy after lunch, but if so, feel free. I will wake you up when I'm done. So yeah, turn down the volume, dim the lights, please. Anyway, welcome to this talk. Today I will be talking about our search for happiness and what we are doing, how we're building the future by building progressive web apps. So this is, let me see, that's me. And my name is Jamie Maria Schouren, but you can leave the last part out and just call me Jamie Maria, it's fine. And what I am, I'm the director and co-founder of the company called Dati. And this is my Twitter, so you can follow us and find us on Twitter. So who knows this screen? Oh, I have some people, sometimes in the rooms where there's almost nobody who knows what it is. So please tell me, what is it? Back to the Future. Indeed, this is the Back to the Future console. And when I look at it, it's telling me that we were in the future. They went to April 23, 2018, which means that they said that this is the future, right? We should be in the future now. And if I'm actually going through the movie, there's some things which I think is very interesting. And one of the things I see that they predicted that we have self-lacing shoes, and we actually have them. And they told us that we will have something called a tablet, or actually some device which we can hold, and it's a computer, and we also got that. Then, in the movie, they also predicted that there will be some kind of skateboard which can fly, and you can go over water, and we actually got that as well. This is Tony Hawk on a hoverboard, but obviously the biggest gadget of last year was this super cool rolling thing. I don't know, there's many funny movies online where people are falling off. And this was really 2018 hype. Then they said you will have glasses. And with these glasses, it's some kind of computer as well, and we got that too. I mean, they're really predicting here what's the future. Then they said you can do video conference calling, and indeed we got that too. But the one thing, and the one and only thing that really tells me, okay, they predicted it, why this has to be the future, is that they were able to predict who is the villain, the super villain. It was a blonde guy in a golden tower, and they predicted him as well. So, thank you. So looking at this does tell me one thing very important, and it tells me that the future is now. But really, is the future now? Because when I look at the state of the web, last year I see this kind of stuff happening. Oh, one back. Is it playing? Yes. So, I mean, we've all seen this, right? Asking me to many things. Are you over 18? Yes, and I can fill in that I'm from the year 1299, and I'm still fine going there. Then I'm almost there, asking my location, asking me to subscribe to newsletters, almost chat popping up, trying to see, can you help me? And I understand. And then finally, did I find what I was looking for? Snap website down. Not working. And I can share it on social media if I want. So, and this is the web. I mean, this is what we know as the web. And it really concerns me because we have 5 billion devices connected today. 5 billion. And when I look at how that is a bit divided, then you see this nice stat saying, the green line saying that's mobile, the blue line saying desktop, and at some point you can see that almost everybody has, you know, a double device, or we own both stuff, so it's kind of levering, and underneath there's tablet, which is still good. And when I look at how we use the web, this is from Facebook statistics, and they say, okay, we have 94% of people using a mobile, and 62% using mobile only. I mean, this is a very interesting signal, right? We're using mobile only. This is our first place and our main connection with the internet. And especially mobile websites concern me because this is the mobile web, right? This is what we see. And Google did some research of that, and they said 53% of users will abandon your website when the page takes 3 seconds or longer to load. If you have a website with 100K turnover per day, you have a potential loss of 2.5 million with these numbers, right? This is happening. That's a lot of money. And we're talking here about 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds. We're like, okay, you know, that's long. And we as developers think that is long. But does anybody have a clue what is actually the average mobile web page load on a 3G device? Does anybody know? 6 seconds, you think? Okay. 7 to 10? Okay, you're going to be surprised because it's 19. And on 4G, it's 14. So it's not even, I mean, it's not even close. This is not, I don't understand people still buy online. But okay, we're web developers, so we say, okay, we can fix this, right? So we started to fix this, and then we had in the year 2009, we did something interesting. We said, let's do HTML5 came up, this was the new thing. And then this guy said, okay, you know, I'm gonna try this out. This looks very cool. So he abandoned HTML, went to HTML5, they built the Facebook hybrid app in 2012, and this was the reviews. Why is the Facebook app such a piece of crap? It had 1.4 million ratings, on 1 star, but it was still the most used and most downloaded app ever. And I don't know what's happening there. So then this guy, he said, okay, the biggest mistake we ever made was betting too much in HTML5 opposed to native. Obviously, this statement is before the Cambridge Analytics drama, but you know, back then this was the worst thing they ever did. So we were, okay, this is not a good idea. Let's get rid of HTML. Let's not do this. And mobile app rules. We're going to make mobile native apps 2012. Let's do this. So this have a lot of advantages, mobile apps, because mobile apps have a very high performance. They have smooth interactions and smooth animations. You have instant loading. You have offline support, easy access from the home screen, and super high engagement. Okay. 87% of our time we're actually spending in native apps. So hey, what are we doing here? We're talking about PWA, right? I mean, I can now stop and let's all build native apps, but there is obviously a down trick to that because all this time we spent on 3 apps, super highly concentrated. And even if you think, as a developer, okay, but I'm going to be one of those 3 apps, I have to disappoint you because the average amount of installed apps per user per month is 0. Nobody is downloading apps. So why is this happening? Well, that's because of the disadvantages of native apps, which is that they have a lot of distribution problems. I cannot link to an app. Or there is no way I can only make a website, which then might go to the app, but there is no way I can actually spread the word, and I can have landing pages in apps. Updating is a pain, because you have to go to the App Store, and actually getting it in the App Store is a pain as well. Application size and the memory usage is a drama. You have different OS systems, and 10% of your revenue is going to the App Store. And there's even some models where Apple is taking 29%. I mean, imagine being Spotify, being Uber. What does this mean? So this is when the search for App-iness started. Because we want to have the cool things of the apps. We want to be offline, we want to be fast, we want to have this super cool interaction, but we don't want that drama. We want to be distributable. We want to have this on the web. So this is what I call App-iness, so the complete elation and satisfaction with a flawless web browser experience, mimicking the actual elaborate native app experience on one's smartphone. So we did the search for App-iness, and I think many of you know some of these initiatives. All these things happened. We had Adobe, we had Windows, we had Chrome, we even had BlackBerry at some point trying to make some kind of apps on the web, and they all failed. And why did most of them, and basically all of them, failed? It's because of one main reason: they're non-linkable, which means that you're not part of the internet, basically. If you cannot link, and Google cannot read what you're doing, and cannot create landing pages, I mean, then are you even part of the internet now these days, right? If you cannot distribute your IDs. So then Chrome came and the web struck back in 2016, and they came with something they called AMP. So does anybody know about AMP? Okay, we have some people know what AMP is. This is accelerated mobile pages, and basically you can create super fast pages on the 1 second page load, 10 times less data, instant access to information, and a 4 times higher click-through rate. But the problem is, you can only create a landing page with no dynamic data, or less dynamic data. So you can have a page there, and it's super nice, but then the rest of the thing will be, you know, still not the real native app experience. So then Google got super creative, and they were like, let's turn this around, let's turn AMP around and make it PWA. So then I love Google, just to be clear, I actually love them. But so AMP are fast, super fast landing pages, but then PWA is actually App-iness, right? PWA is App-iness. So back to App-iness there, number 2, progressive app apps. So what are progressive app apps? Basically, they're fast, they're reliable, and they're super engaging. And I'm going to go through these things super fast now because we're progressive app apps. So this is fast, right? This is the Washington Post, current mobile web, and they have some budget to spend on performance optimization, and they have the instant mobile web on the left. This is the difference. 0.9, I'm done. There, 3.3 seconds, still fast, still much faster than the 19 seconds, but I'm done after 3.3 seconds. And the main difference here is that on the instant mobile web, everything is there now. I can go offline, I can just step in a train, step in the elevator, and it will still work. And also, it will not reload anymore. The next click I'm going to do is going to be instant, because I don't have to load anymore. The next click on the left side is going to be 3.3 seconds, or maybe a bit faster. Okay, engagement. You know, we can do stuff like send push notifications from the web, and many people get super happy, many merchants, because they think they can send people this. And obviously, there is no user who's going to click next. Everyone is going to click the X. So we need to be a little bit smart with using push notifications. And what we can do as well, similar as native apps, we can access some data on someone's device. For example, geolocation. So we know where someone is, we know where they've been, so we can use that to create very good, high-engaging messages. So we can send something like this. Hey, you're near my bar, I know you like cats, and come on, 25% off of cocktails if you come now tonight at the nightclub. So push notifications, super fun. Then, and I know some people will remember this, do you remember this thing? Yes, so this thing brought you to, this was the internet. This used to be the internet. And if this thing turned on, we were online. And the whole house knew you were online. First of all, the thing made a noise, which was, everybody remembers that noise. But also, nobody could touch anything else. Don't pick up the phone. While I'm downloading something for 5 hours, one song. Don't pick up the phone, it's gonna break. We knew we were online, and we also knew we're offline now, because now we can breathe again and everybody can move again in the house. You know, it's happening, it's over, we're offline again. But we're not anymore. This is not happening anymore. We are always online. This experience of being online is gone, because we always expect to be online, even when we're offline. We still want to be online. So one other thing which native apps can do is bring you this nice add-to-home screen experience. And this is an example of how it works in Android. So you can actually, if it's a PWA, it can detect and it can add you to the home screen. Nice thing is, I'm skipping the App Store. And that is what's really cool, not only for my revenue stream, but also that you don't, you know, if nobody looking at it. I'm actually on someone's home screen, not a browser shortcut, and I'm there with skipping the App Store. And I'm super small as well. I don't have to download everything. Updating goes through my server. I don't have to update through the App Store, and I don't have to force a user to update me. And it also works on iOS. There's a misconception about that, but the recently they added, on iOS you need to have one extra step. You need to actually manually, they don't allow you to pop up. And then you can be there as well. This is actually my phone, as you can see, Jamie Maria's phone. So if I put it in a scheme, this is how it looks like. We have the native app, responsive websites, and progressive web apps do both. So really bringing all the cool stuff together in one. But we are developers, and we want to know what is a PWA, right? What actually is it? And if I'm looking at the progressive web app, is according to our friends at Google. So they told us, this is actually a set of business rules. And this set of business rules is we are progressive, responsive, connectivity independent, app-like, fresh, safe, discoverable, re-engageable, installable, and linkable. It sounds really cool, but what is it? I mean, progressive web apps actually are three things. To make a progressive web app, you need three things. You need to have HTTPS, you need to have a service workers, and you need to have a web app manifest. HTTPS, I assume everybody knows, so I'm going to skip that. And here is the web app manifest. So what a web app manifest is basically a JSON file, which has all the information about how it should behave as soon as it's installed on your screen. So it has an icon and a splash screen and theme color and name and background color. JSON file. Very, very easy to get it there. Obviously, you need to do some extra things to get the prompt to install it. I wrote a very nice blog about that. Go there, because I don't have that much time. So Flipkart did it. 70% more conversion. 3 times less data. These are the numbers, right? These are the numbers we're looking for. Service workers. So basically, a service worker is a client-side JavaScript proxy. And it improves the performance and makes your app offline first, and is the base for advanced features. So if I draw it, it looks something like this. So the device is actually not connecting directly to the web server. It's actually asking through the service worker first, hey, do you have something for me? And this is actually what's happening that I can do offline, because I can have all nice stuff in the cache, and I don't need to have the whole website there, but some data we want to show when we're offline. This is how offline mode works. But this is also how the performance works, because I can be super fast, because I'm first calling the cache and not directly going there. So the service worker has a certain life cycle. You have to install, it's looking for an installation there, then it has a registration, installation, and an activation. I'm going to walk fastly a little bit through the code, how that works. So basically, the registration is happening here, and then what it does, it checks if the browser supports it, because not all browsers obviously supports it. Then it registers it, and it returns us the promise that resolves when the service worker is installed successfully. So you can, during the installation, this is the installation, you can actually trigger already events. And the events could be, for example, immediately to have to pre-cache parts of the website there. So after the first hit, you're fast. It's done, you're offline mode, everything can be there immediately at the beginning. And the service worker can detect as soon as something is different, it knows, hey, there's something new, I need to get rid of this and get the new one every time I have a connection there. So with the service workers, I can do stuff like send push notifications, which is obviously something we like. Basically, it works like this. So your server is sending the web push protocol request to a push server, and this push server is then sending it to the device. So for that, you need two types of APIs. You need to call the notification API and the push API. And basically how that works, first you need to ask for permission, right? We need to check if people actually allow us to do that. And then we show the notifications on the registration there. So we say, okay, you're going to allow me to send you push notifications. You have a couple of options there. You can do really cool stuff like send vibrations. So even when someone has the push notifications of you, it can have some, I don't know, some custom vibration stuff. And you can do all nice stuff to really make your push notifications stand out. Then you can also have buttons, obviously. So you have two events, clicking on it and closing it. And the fun thing about this one is that if you actually close it, if you click on close, it will only register when you click on close. When you, on your screen, on your home screen, like bulk delete all the notifications, it's not going to register close. So it looks like this. It says, OK, explore, and then go to the site, and it says, OK, and then close is obviously no thank you. So you will get these two events, notification close, notification click, right? Super easy. There's nothing weird there. So when I know the click, this is happening, and then obviously you tell them what to do after you clicked. So the sending and the receiving of these push notifications, that's a bit where the tricky part is happening. And this is working from my server, going to the push subscription endpoint, and then going to the device. So you have to get on your server, you have to get the permission from the push subscription endpoint. And this is where it's being sent. So I actually sent everything there. So I'm just sending, I'm not getting the data from the user, I'm sending everything there. And from there, the device gets if I got a push notification or not. So I don't really know where I'm sending to. And this is very GDPR friendly, right? Because we don't need to have all the people's name and all the people subscribing to us to do this. And the good thing is, when you work with this kind of subscription endpoint, you can send push notifications when someone is not on your website and the browser is not open. So this allows for that to happen. So here, I'm not sure if you can actually see with the light right there, but basically what happens is that you need, each subscription goes to a unique endpoint, so you need to know where is it going. And then here you can see the, I'm sending it to the endpoint, and there is the keys, so I know, make sure that it's safe and all, or else I wouldn't have been HTTPS, right? And for my server, this is the way to do it in Node.js. So I'm basically saying, sending the message, giving the key there. I have a time to deliver. Pretty funny, because I can set, for example, a very long time to deliver, maybe with a geo tag. So I can say, if in the next 3 days someone is coming within 100 meters of this actual location, deliver the push notification. And then it's going to the device, but it's actually going to the service worker. And then this one is listening for the push event in the subscription and then showing it or not. So the service worker, the push arrived, the service worker is being triggered, it handles the message and then shows the notification. And then we can show everyone this. And we're all super happy, right? Everybody's happy. So if I look at this from the developer point of view, literally any website then can be a progressive web app. Because you only have to switch over to HTTPS. You need to have some JSON web app manifest with some meta crap in it. And you need to add a service worker, and you are a PWA. Yes, that's how it's done, right? It's super easy. So, but no, I mean, Google's a little bit smart, and they say, no, progressive web apps are the web done right. It's about the experience. It's about how we perceive the web. And Tinder, for example, did this. They are 7.2 seconds faster, 90% smaller. They have more messages, more swipes, and longer sessions. Although they don't specify what the longer sessions means, if it's on Tinder or if it's after the Tinder experience. I mean, it's good, right? Everybody's happy. I think everybody's happy. We can agree on that. So then we move on. A really fun thing that they did, Uber did it. Obviously, I think to get rid of the 10% they have to pay to the App Store, but they load in 3 seconds on 2G networks. And this is very important because a whole new market opened for them. They could not deliver their service in 2G areas, and 60% of the world is still on 2G. I mean, they can now deliver their service there. Core is only 50K, and the new market is opening there. Okay, Trivago, they also did it. 150% growth on engagement on the at-home screen users, and 97% more conversion rate. I mean, these are nice numbers. And I have one more for you. It's called the Rake. 80% growth in organic traffic, instant loading, and headless architecture. And how do I know this? It's because we built it. And the Rake actually is it's a magazine, a very fancy magazine for male people in the UK. And it wanted to have a content-driven web shop, and it asked us to have WordPress and Magento combine it because they wanted to have WordPress for content and Magento for shop, and we had to combine it and then make it work. And we're like, oh, we're not going to do it that way. So then we decided to build a headless web shop. And what we did is we had the front end. Some people watch Game of Thrones. We have the front end. They know what's happening here. The guy is getting cut off. His head is getting cut off. For the people who don't know. And then there is an API layer. So we're talking through this API, and then there is the backend, and all this stuff communicates with each other. But the backend is not a one backend anymore. The backend is actually a Magento. We have Algolia there. You can have WordPress there. There is PayPal and Akinio. So everything is worked separately. So these things are not talking with each other. And this makes it very interesting also when you want to upkeep your program, make sure that it's really nice, because if some point they say, okay, we don't like WordPress anymore, we want to switch it out for whatever, let's say typo 3, they can actually do this really fast. They don't have to break the whole code to be able to build this. And so we did this, and yeah, it was pretty fast, and we have 100 Lighthouse scores, so actually I do like Google. And why is this so fast? It's basically because of 3 things. It's a React.js framework, so we have all these nice things like virtual DOM and all this kind of cool stuff, which makes it fast. There is a Node.js server, which also handles server-side rendering, so Google can still see us, but also make sure, you know, with the asynchronic architecture, etc., that you can actually have a fast server there. And then it's a single-page application as well. So every single thing that is kept in the front end on a new page is still there, so I don't have to switch them out. So this thing was pretty nice, pretty fun. We brought out the web shop, and then everybody was happy, so we decided to open source it and named it Dative Falcon, rewrote the architecture so everybody can actually use it, and then we called it Dative Falcon. And Dative Falcon is a framework to build progressive web apps, and it's platform agnostic, service-oriented, and it's ready to build any type of website. So there's the GitHub link, and I have some cards so I can help you to point you in the right direction. And one other shop we did on this one as well is WEBSHOP.nl, 7 million products, instant search, and a time to market of 2 months. And this story was pretty cool because we were building this front end, and we were like, it's going to take 2 months, maybe 3. And the guy was like, no, wait, other companies are telling me 18 months. This is not, well, we're going to do it. So at the same time, they hired guys from Elastic team to make the database ready. And what happened is that in 2 months, the database was not ready, and we had the front end ready. So then the company said, okay, let's move all our products, put them in Algolia, and so we can at least go live. So we had to then switch the Algolia for the whole thing, the Elasticsearch for the Algolia. It took us 2 hours to do that. And when they were done again, after 2 months, they had their Elasticsearch ready, another 2 hours to switch it back. And it's because we separate these layers, right? You can actually super fast build such things. Here is the actual experience for webshop.nl, and you can try it out if you want. I'm looking here for Lego, and then I'm going to look Lego green. So I see here all Lego green. And there is a small delay when the products are showing. And the fun thing is, we made that delay on purpose. Because it was so fast that people were double-clicking search and double-click. They didn't see that actual products were appearing. So the whole thing, and here I'm looking for a dress red, and then I'm looking for a red dress with white dots. But you can see, if you look very closely in the URL, it's that while I type, it's appearing in the URL that is faster than the product showing up. This is how you can see that there is an actual forced render delay there. have a look at it, WEBSHOP.nl, you will never forget it. So many people ask me, okay, is this an Android thing, right? Because iOS is not allowing everything yet. That's kind of true, because iOS is not, for example, not allowing push notifications yet, but they are, say, working on it, and they cannot really stop it anymore, right? It's not something they can stop. But it doesn't mean that progressive web apps are not good for iOS, because Lancome did it, and they had 53% increase in mobile sessions on iOS, 8% per stitches from app, and 12% recovered cards by push. So it doesn't mean that you cannot do everything on iOS yet, doesn't mean that progressive web apps are bad. You can add to home screen, you can have this super fast experience, you have all the cool stuff happening there. So then Gartner did some research, and they said, oh, by 2020, 50% of this, the whole website is going to be progressive web apps. 50%, right? I mean, we're a little bit behind here, so we need to get working here together as the developers in the world, and we're going to help you a little bit with that. With our open source product, we were able to you can set it up in 3 steps, so you can get yourself working that 3 steps, 5 minutes, and you will have 100, 100, 100 Lighthouse scores, WordPress and Magento integrated there, and you can get a start. I see some pictures. Good. So try it out, and it looks something like this when I'm actually doing it. So it's. I mean, this is just my code being run outside this. It's going to install the client. We have a Falcon client, Falcon server. The server is the Node.js part. The client is the UI. And then it takes a few seconds to fully install. And then you can just later then switch your own WordPress, switch your own Magento, and start playing with it. But before I end this, and you can fire all your questions, there's one last thing I want to share with you. One last thing. And I'm not sure if you are aware that Steve Jobs actually built the very first iPhone for progressive web apps. In 2007, he actually presented the very first iPhone, and he said, we have an innovative new way to create applications for a mobile device. And he said it's Web 2.0 plus Ajax, and we have integrating with iPhone services. That's what progressive web apps do. It's instant distribution. You don't have to go through anything else. Easy to update, secure, same as transactions with Amazon or a bank, and it's sandbox on the iPhone. This is progressive web app, he was explaining, 2007. And the fun thing is, 1 year later, the App Store started. I mean, and they closed it down. So, thank you very much. This was our search for App-iness. I hope you're all going to be happy and try out what we're doing and have fun with it. Thank you. And the person with the best question gets a T-shirt. So. So you should. No questions? Oh, we have one. The rake, yes. No, we do have. It depends on what complete PWA, how you define it. If you follow the HTTPS service workers, then it's complete PWA. If you follow the whole thing that Google is telling you, it's complete PWA. If it's sending push notifications, no. They're not sending that. So in that fact, then it's not then fully, because I'm not using all the stuff of PWA. The checkout is fully done headless. So the checkout is separate, and it's just taking the data where it needs to go. So, yeah.
So if I'm using Gatsby to build PWAs,
yeah.
I always found that updating them is quite a struggle, because the service worker always serves the cache content.
It could, but you can obviously trigger as soon as if you have one byte difference in the service worker, it will reinstall the service worker. So in that case, you could trigger it, force trigger it to not show that cache. Gatsby is a little bit different, because Gatsby is really built for static website. It's for static. So while we use React, so you can actually have dynamic content in there. So it might also be just Gatsby and not really PWA related and service worker related. So there could be a difference there. I'm not very familiar with using Gatsby. I know of Gatsby. But I never tried it, so it could be there's something there which delays even more. Yeah, is it nice? Good. Good, I will try it. Yeah, it's really fast. I know it's really, but it's the thing is that it's for static content and using, doing commerce or stuff like that. That's not the best thing then to use.
Can you give any educated guess on at which occasion a native app would still be preferable towards a PWA? And additionally, what is going to be the future of browsers then? We have really good working PWAs.
Well, I think the browsers, so I'm going to answer your last question first and then the other question. The browsers will always be the way you browse, right? The way you're going to discover. And some things you really like, you will add to your home screen, but it doesn't mean everything you like is going to be added to your home screen. So you're using then, let's say, for example, I have seen a very nice, beautiful pair of shoes, and I really like it, and then I'm going to say, okay, but it's not in my size now, so I'm going to click that alert me when it is. So I'm not installing the thing on my home screen. I just need to know when they're back in my size, and then I get the push notifications and I can go back. So the browser, in my opinion, will still be the platform where you will browse, and the things you really like and you're using often, you're adding to your home screen, and the stuff not. I think that it will really not fully replace the App Store. To answer your first question, I think heavy gaming is still something I think we could use native apps for. I think gaming is one of the main things that I want to have in native apps. The heavier gaming, not the super small ones. But so this is something I think could be, native apps. So, but yeah, that's my guess that is a thing that we'll keep there. And if you want to use the torch, because PWA, not all browsers allow the torch to be used. I don't know why, but if you want to have an app which uses the torch, you still need to have native. The torch is the light. The light on the back. So I don't know why, but this is one functionality that not really all browsers are not allowing to use. I don't know. I mean, I'm not the one designing the browser. I think that's super stupid. But I don't know. Maybe you want to have a real app for torch. Then you need the app for torch. So, any more questions? Oh, more. Yeah. Well, I think if you refer to losing money as in they're not taking revenue from the App Store anymore, I think there is a very interesting thing. This is because in my educated guess, but it's my, I'm not them, it's my free advice to them, that if I were them, I would, if we have progressive web apps, we can have native functionalities like, for example, in-app purchases, what we only do in native. We can have that on the web. And I like to shop, and if you can shop and click on a bag or click on shoes or click on whatever you like, and you can pay with your face, then basically you then use the App Store as your wallet. In that case, I pay with my face. They take a small percentage of that, like all the Adyen and all the PayPals in the world do. They have less percentage, but a way broader market. So in my opinion, the App Store will be more the paying and the wallet and the identity, my identity on my device for all these websites, including progressive web apps. That's one. I think this is where the business model is. It's something, with the new Apple Pay and the cards, etc. I think it's something they're really pointing towards to make the App Store your paying, your wallet, and your identity, secure identity on your phone. Then you say, okay, how much can we trust them? Google is one heavily pushing this, like extremely. They're actually the one who gave the name. When we built the rig, the PWA name didn't even exist. There was no, we just called it decoupled, headless, decentralized, all this kind of buzzword bingo. And then Google came and said, we're going to call it PWA, right? And then when Google then gives your thing a name, that's extremely cool. But they're really pushing good web experiences. And of course, they're with the Chrome browser, they want everybody to use Chrome, so there's, I think, to have data or whatever they're doing, all creepy stuff, but they are using that, right? There is a difference there. Apple is, pushing it a little bit back, but if everybody's doing this, they're gonna lose people on iPhone, because we want to be able to use, super easy use the web, etc. And if at some point all this web is moving to PWA and all cool stuff, and I cannot do it anymore on my iPhone, you know, I'm going to move somewhere else. This is the big mistake that BlackBerry made. They had this cool, everybody could text and message, and then they got some very basic stuff like apps, etc., like all the others were doing. They said, we're not going to do that, so what happened? Goodbye. I mean, I was alive in a time when there were more BlackBerries than iPhones, and it went really fast, really bad. And I think you have to somehow move with what your people and your customers want, and you can try to delay, but at some point, you're going to have to bend. I think. That is just my opinion. Yes? This one is built with Magento 2, yes, but it's platform agnostic, and we're using GraphQL, etc. You could actually extend the API from Magento 1 and just push it, but our open source version has 2.3.1, everything in there. Yes. Yes. Yeah, I can. Vue Storefront is indeed someone who is also working, and as the name says, they're using Vue.js there. So there is a difference there in the technology they're using, the stack. I think that Vue.js is something you can get really fast starting with, but at some point, you know, it has its limits. While React.js is, you know, much more, allows for much more extensibility and less complexity, you know, much better architectures. There is a main difference between our stores, our solutions, is that we have an actual, in my opinion, a very decent architecture. We have Node.js as a server there. We have React.js as front ends. There's Block and there's Shop, which are all extensions, and they're all built with modules, and you can override them super easy. While Vue Storefront has a Vue.js layer, and they're using Elasticsearch to make it fast. I mean, there is a very big difference there in terms of approach and how to do it. While if you look at just functionalities, you know, it depends on for the shop you want to build or whatever you want to build. If you just want a list of functionalities, you know, you can compare based on that. But for us personally, what is really important is developer experience. So we highly focus on, we call it the FIRE principle, and we say our code has to be flexible, integratable, reliable, and extensible. So everything we do allows for people like you and developers to really build their own solution with it in a very fast and easy and stable way. So that we update, your store is not going to break, right? You don't have to do all the crazy stuff there. And I think that's the main difference. We're not focusing heavily on having all the features in there, rather than focusing on you can make your own features in there. So, but I can talk hours about the difference between competitors, so I'm not doing that now. Any more questions? Yes.
Android or iOS, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm just used to like Android Studio and Java and just got familiar with Kotlin and stuff.
Yeah.
So what do I actually need to do if I don't want to change to be in the gaming industry and continue developing native apps? What can I do to prevent from losing track?
Well, you can apply for a job with me, because I used to be a native app developer. So actually, you can and apply. We're always open for new guys. But I would come on. I can take the opportunity, right, to make the job offer. But I used to be in the native world, and which I liked, and then I moved to e-commerce, and then, you know, things happen, and. But actually, if I were you now, the advice I would give you, go to, if you want to stay on Java and you like it, go to the application developers, not mobile application developers. Like, for example, this company building crazy machines, you know, they're using Java for that. If you want to keep on the web, I would advise you to go to JavaScript. Node.js, really, if you like that, obviously, or React.js, I really would say go there, because JavaScript is obviously, in my opinion, if you see every week there's a new framework somewhere popping up, it's going super fast, and it's super easy to use, and if you get a little bit the hang of it, the learning curve of React and Node is a little bit longer, but as soon as you get it, it's really, really fun. I decided to go with the Node.js approach at very early stage, when we saw Netflix and PayPal and all of them moving to Node.js. I mean, you know, you see what's happening, right? If all these guys are moving there must be something good, and then you try it out and you like it or you don't like it, but then I liked it. So And it's not that bad. I mean, we're in the game of building great experiences, right? So, not that bad. Okay, tell me, yes.
Two questions.
Yeah.
First, I tried already for the website and my firm to make it like this. And the first problem, or the first thing was, when I saw it, I did the whole manifest and the service
Yeah.
worker, and then I saw, oh, I can fetch all the data I need just from the beginning of
Yeah.
installation. And then I thought, okay, I just put everything.
Yeah. Why not? You can. Yeah.
But then I realized I think there's a limit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would be about the limit. And then I thought, what is actually, like, what's your experience about putting all from the beginning in installation?
Yeah.
Because then it's going to be a huge installation too.
Yes.
And it's not less than maybe another native app. So what's your experience about how much should we begin with?
I think you should think about what do my users want to see when they go offline. So think about when am I going offline. You know, I'm going offline obviously when I'm in an airplane, but I'm also going offline when I'm in a big, tall elevator, or I'm going offline when I'm in underground metro, etc. And what are things you can serve your customer? And in this case, I always think about the 80-20 rule, right? So you know, you take 80%. So let's say I only serve top 100 products there, or I served products that they in the same category as they used to be, or I'm going to show them a page. Maybe I'm going to show them like a downer. You know what Google does. You know, I can do something fun like, hey, you're waiting now, no problem. We will save it for you. You know, you can come back later or whatever, and then get them back with a push notification again if they're longer offline. But you can do some. I mean, we have this website. You just saw it, 8 million products, 7 million in live store, and it was tested with 19 million. We're not sending them as an offline mode, right? All of them. That's not happening. So you can actually do really crazy, cool stuff. You can explain that. You know, you can if you're a brand website, you can show a video of your brand or something cool of your brand, right, to engage people. So I would really focus on what I think, you think, or research what your users would like to see at that point, and serve them that. There is a limit indeed with MB. There's also, because it's pretty funny that Google cut on 2G networks that you can only have a certain load on first load, or else they will not display the website. They're just gonna cut the website to keep the experience high, and to keep high for us that we're actually working. There was a bit misconception, because when they first said that, they said 2G is blocking JavaScript websites, dot. And they were like, but you just told us to move to PWA and now you're blocking that. But what they actually meant is that JavaScript sometimes, if you don't do it right, you're gonna have to have a very high first load there, you know, and then the thing is breaking. So they made a limit there to force us to build a good experience. Questions? More questions? Good. Then I think we're good. And I have 2 T-shirts. So come, please. We have so many questions, I cannot pick. Thank you.